discussed about how gradually EIC was trying to establish its monopoly over Bengal, right? And they were taking, for example, Farman of 1717. This was the bone of contention. I have already discussed this, that how Farman of 1770 was the bone of contention between EIC and Nawabs of Bengal. Okay, here the issue of Dastaks was involved. We have already discussed it, and we see that gradually the East India Company will start developing fortifications around the trading settlements, and these things will ultimately result in a conflict. Okay, and we have discussed this concept that between this period 15 to 28 June 1756, what happened? Nawab Siraj's army, Nawab Siraj's army invaded the trading settlements of East India Company in Bengal region and established its control over there. And here we see a very important topic for prelims examination that has been earlier asked in your prelims examination, and that is black hole incident. We already have discussed it in the last class. Now we are going to continue the next topic, and here in next topic we see that there is another development, and that is known as Treaty of Alinagar. Okay, this we need to discuss. Treaty of Alinagar, then we'll discuss Battle of Plassey and all. Now Treaty of Alinagar was signed in Feb 1757. This is the time period of Treaty of Alinagar, Feb 1757. Now the Alinagar, what is the meaning of here Alinagar? Alinagar is the same area where the trading settlements of East India Company is present, where the Fort William is present. Now what will happen when Nawab Siraj will attack? He will establish his control over that entire region, and the EIC merchants were, okay, they were thrown back at the seas. This we already have discussed. Now, don't you think that the British East India Company and its authorities will again try to regain their lost control over their trading settlements? Yes, they will try to do so. And here what we see that if there were three presidencies of British East India Company, there were three main centers. One was Bengal, the another was Madras, that is in South India, and the third was Bombay, that is in Western India. So obviously they will take help from Madras, they will take help from Bombay, and they will try to regain their lost authority and control. And Siraj did not realize this. Siraj established the control in June 1757, and he was not realizing the future danger, the coming danger, that what East India Company is capable of doing. Now Sirajuddaulah, okay, he was not understanding the future potential threat. Now what will happen? We see again the role of Clive will come here. We are already familiar with Clive. We are familiar with Clive, that how Clive played an important role in saving or protecting whom? Okay, the successor of Karnataka. Okay, Muhammad Ali. How he was rescued from the fort of Tiruchinappalli, and that was an excellent diplomatic skill and strategic skill of Clive. So Clive has already proved himself. Now he is getting the another opportunity. Now the East India Company will get reinforcements from Madras, will get reinforcements from Bombay, and what they will do in this month, in the month of Feb, they will again re-establish their lost control over Alinagar. They will again re-establish their lost control over Fort William. Okay, and here the Nawab of Bengal, who was Siraj, was forced to sign. Here the Nawab was forced, I am using this word, forced to sign a treaty, and that is Treaty of Alinagar. So who is more powerful here, Nawab or East India Company? East India Company. And this is a matter of great insult for the Nawab, because Nawab was forced to sign this treaty. Okay, it means that East India Company had forcefully acquired the same territory Alinagar. They have forcefully established their control over Fort William, and Nawab Siraj was not prepared for this. Okay, and that is what you can say that a matter of great advantage for the East India Company. Now, this treaty is a humiliating treaty, and in this treaty, what will happen? In this treaty, what will be the terms and conditions of the treaty? You can easily assume here that what could be the provisions of the treaty. What could be the provisions of Treaty of Alinagar? You could assume, right? Provision number one: Nawab validated. Nawab validated EIC settlements in Bengal region. Nawab validated EIC settlements over the Bengal region. Nawab validated EIC settlements over Bengal region. And second point, right? EIC was given EIC was given control over Fort William. It was approved by Nawab. EIC was given control over Fort William and it was approved by Nawab. Okay. Right. Third point. Now again, EIC officials. Third point. Now again, EIC officials were given the right to do free trade. EIC officials were again given the right to use dastaks. Okay, because when Nawab attacked na, so dastaks was prohibited for some time. Now officials were again given the right to use dastaks. Clear? They can use dastaks, and use here means what? They will do what? Misuse, and Nawab cannot stop them. Clear? Now this provision will not be asked in your exam. Only this question is asked in prelims to arrange the events in chronological order, right? So the provisions are not that much important. There are some technical points here also, but I'm not discussing that. Okay, because we'll not be able to use that. Now what we see is that this is a humiliating treaty for Nawab. And Siraj was a powerful Nawab. Yes, he was a powerful Nawab, but there was a weakness of Nawabs of Bengal. And what was that weakness? Okay, they were not familiar with what was going on around the world. It means company, through this East India Company, the government was trying to establish its political control, and the British government was setting up many colonies all over the world, and the Nawabs of Bengal were not familiar with this. It means they failed to realize the true character of East India Company rule in India. They failed to realize the true character of East India Company. They thought that East India Company was only a trading company, but in actuality, East India Company was having political ambitions as well, and they failed to realize this. Now, Nawab was ready to take the revenge, and East India Company was well familiar of this fact that Nawab will definitely take revenge because Treaty of Alinagar is a humiliating treaty for Nawab. Now both sides were preparing for war. Siraj was also preparing for war, and East India Company was also preparing for war. Since this Treaty of Alinagar was a humiliating treaty, what we see here that this Treaty of Alinagar, which was signed in this month, Feb 1757, it was a humiliating treaty for Siraj. It was a humiliating treaty for Siraj. So EIC was knowing that Siraj will definitely take revenge. EIC was knowing this, that Siraj will definitely take revenge. Siraj badla lega hi lega. Siraj will definitely take revenge. EIC was knowing this. Clear? And what Siraj was doing? Siraj was preparing its army for war. Siraj was preparing its army for war. Now the command was in the hands of Clive. The command of the company was in the hands of Clive. So Clive was having the commands of East India Company. East India Company. Now what will happen? On one side, Siraj was busy in preparing for war, and on other side, EIC, its officials were what they were doing. What they started making conspiracy against Siraj. So one side is preparing for war, and one side is making conspiracy that how to win this war without much bloodshed, right? How to win this war without incurring huge military expenses, because they were the traders. They will try to save their money. So what was doing here, right? EIC was involved in making conspiracy. Here, AIC was involved in making conspiracy. So in the conspiracy, what they did, the military commander in chief, the military commander in chief of Shiraz was Mir Zafar. Mir Zafar was the military commander in chief of Shiraz. So AIC approached Mir Zafar that if you will support East India Company, we will do what? We will replace Shiraz with you. You are the military commander in chief. Okay. So obviously the military commander in chief could never become the ruler, because there was Nawab and his family. Okay, there was a dynastic rule here. So here EIC is promising Mir Zafar, the military commander in chief, that if you support us, we'll do what? Okay, we will make you the next Nawab. Now Mir Zafar was ready, okay, to defeat Shiraz. This is one point. Now the second important point, what company will do? Company will approach all important merchants, bankers, or rich persons of Bengal who were basically financing Shiraz. Okay, because this is what you can say, the economic prosperity of Bengal depended on whom? The rich merchants, bankers, Jagat Seths. There is a word. Now company will contact them also, and company will say that if you will help East India Company, East India Company will provide you more economic prospects. We are connected with international market, so you can gain more profit if you will get yourself associated with East India Company. So it's a foolish idea to be with Shiraz. Now what will happen? The merchants, bankers will also be a part of this conspiracy, and they are going to sell Shiraz. इस बार किसको बेचने जा रहे हैं? वो सिराज को ही बेचने जा रहे हैं. Now they were also ready. Now what will happen? Now EIC will approach those courtiers in Nawab's court, okay, who were not happy with Shiraz. They were knowing this, that which courtiers, which family members of Shiraz are not happy with Shiraz. So they will start approaching all them. One name, Ghasiti Begum, Rai Durlab, there are so many names, Jagat Narayan, there are so many names. So what will happen? They will approach all those courtiers, family members and relatives, who were not happy with Shiraz. They will approach all of them. Now the plan is all set. Now the East India Company is ready, that Mir Zafar will help and support. Now what will happen? On 23rd June 1757, this date is important, so highlight it as important date. 23rd June 1757. This date is also important. Year is important, but date is also important. 23rd June 1777. What will happen? Battle of Plassey will be fought. And here Plassey is a village. Okay? Plassey is the name of a village, okay, in Murshidabad region of Bengal. That's why this battle is called Battle of Plassey. So the battle will be fought. Now what will happen in this battle? On one side there is EIC army. So the size of EIC army was small. EIC also used cannons here. The size of EIC army was small. And on one side there is Siraj's army, and the size of Siraj's army was, okay, larger than the EIC army. So this army was bigger in size in comparison to East India Company army, okay, and both the forces will meet at Plassey. Now what will happen? Here the forces are led by Clive, and here the leader is Siraj. So this is Siraj. He is leading army, and then this is Mir Zafar, who is the military commander in chief. So he is at this position. This is Mir Zafar, and Mir Zafar was in the command of a large army. Siraj was supported by this army, then army of Mir Zafar, and they were entering the battlefield. Now what will happen? Siraj will enter into the battlefield. With this small army, but Mir Zafar, will he join Siraj? No. Friday का दिन था, मूवी देखने चला गया Mir Zafar will not join Siraj. Now what will happen? Okay, Siraj was trapped in the battlefield. Now the soldiers were easily defeated and Siraz was killed. Okay, Siraz was killed. And in this way, East India Company got its first major or important military and political victory. This is the story. Okay, now there are facts here that in size of the army, the total number of soldiers, right? How many rifles they used, how many cannons they used. ठीक है, यूरोपियन सोल्जर्स कितने थे, ब्रिटिश सोल्जर्स कितने थे. यू डोंट नीड टू नो दीज फैक्ट्स. इसको याद करने लगोगे तो हिस्ट्री क्या हो जाएगी, इट विल बी डिफिकल्ट. वी डोंट नीड टू नो दैट. ठीक है, ओके. But on PPTs, I will display the information so that you will get connected to the themes. But here, we don't use to know that unnecessary fact. Now, do you understand the entire story? Now, tell me one thing. In this battle is marked as one of the most important battle in Indian history. Now, we have to discuss the analysis part. That is important, right? Analysis of this war, this is important. Okay, we don't need to focus on facts here, independent facts here. So what we see here is that Siraz was killed. Siraz was killed. And now East India Company was victorious. East India Company was victorious. Okay. And this is an achievement of Clive. This is an achievement of Clive. And Clive will be awarded for this. Clive become what? Who was the first governor of Bengal? First governor of Bengal कौन था? It was Clive. So Clive will be awarded for this victory. He is the first governor of Bengal. Now, who will be the next Nawab? This is the question. So EIC will do what? EIC will appoint Mir Zafar as the next Nawab. Mir Zafar as the next Nawab. Okay. Now tell me, this Nawab is a real Nawab or a puppet Nawab? This Nawab is a puppet Nawab. Okay. Now I am asking you one thing, that EIC could declare itself as the Nawab, but why they used Mir Zafar as a puppet? Can you answer this question? What could be the possible reason behind this? Instead of yes, exactly. EIC was very smart. They were good learners. They have already learned the lesson from the Portuguese. So they were knowing that if we will declare ourselves as the Nawab, EIC will declare itself as a Nawab, then the people of Bengal will easily identify the true nature and character of EIC. That it's not a trading company. ये तो यहाँ शासन करने के लिए आए हैं. So what they will do? Okay, they will try to establish indirect control. And the second important thing, from, you can say that from years the people of Bengal were seeing a political system where they were knowing the Nawabs of Bengal as the rulers. Got it? So if we will change, if EIC will change this political system all of a sudden, what will happen? The dissatisfaction of the masses will increase. So this is the point. EIC will not do this. Instead of declaring itself as a Nawab, they will use a puppet, and this puppet is Mir Zafar. Now they have also learnt some lessons from Dupleix. When they will appoint a Nawab, Dupleix की policy याद आई कुछ? Okay, changing the ruler and ensuring the economic gains. And the components of these economic gains were commercial gains, monetary gains, territorial gains, individual gift and bribe. Don't you think that the Clive is going to do the same? Because Clive will use the policy of Dupleix. So when Mir Zafar will be declared Nawab, so EIC will do what? EIC will ensure economic gains from Mir Zafar. And we can further classify these economic gains into 4 parts, like we have discussed previously. Okay, so EIC will ensure economic gains from Nawab. So first economic gain is what? Territorial gains. Territorial gains, right? That is the most important. And in territorial gains, they will get a very prominent area of Bengal that is known as 24 Pargana. EIC will get zamindari rights. EIC will become zamindar of 24 Pargana region. So zamindar, EIC will get the zamindari rights of 24 Pargana region. 24 Pargana region. Now EIC is a zamindar also. It has got zamindari rights over 24 Pargana region. And we all know this fact, that is also very important, that in 1698 EIC had already got the zamindari rights of 3 villages, that is Sutnauti, Kalikata and Govindpur. Sutnauti. We already are familiar with this fact, Kalikata and Govindpur. Okay, this is an important fact. This can be asked in exam also. So in 1698, EIC had already got the zamindari rights of Sutnauti, Kalikata and Govindpur. Now they have got the zamindari rights of 24 Pargana region also. It is important or not? This is important. Now the second point is what? Read this, commercial gains. Commercial gains. Because EIC is basically a trading company. EIC is basically a trading company. So what is important for East India Company? Commercial gains. And what is the commercial gain? Now they can do unrestricted trade and commerce in the entire Bengal region. कोई रोकने वाला नहीं. They can do unrestricted trade and commerce. So that is the most important point. They can do unrestricted trade and commerce. They can do unrestricted trade and commerce. And why this unrestricted trade and commerce is most profitable for East India Company? Because Bengal was one of the rich province of that time. ठीक है, इसीलिए ये ज़्यादा इनके लिए फायदेमंद है. This will increase or maximize their profits. This will happen. Now the next important point is that, okay, now monetary gains. Read this, monetary gains. 50 lakh rupees. Mir Zafar will give 50 lakh rupees to East India Company. 50 lakh rupees to East India Company on account of this victory. 50 lakh rupees to the East India Company. And what about Clive? Clive will get individual gift and bribes also. Clive will get what? Individual gift. Many company officials will get individual gift. ठीक है, मीर जाफर से गिफ्ट मांगते रहते थे जब भी उनको जरूरत होती थी. So what EIC did? Okay, did the company spend its own money in financing this war? No. They used our money. They used our province, Bengal. हमारे ही पैसे से बंगाल को जीता. Got it? And who is supporting East India Company? Indian. Mir Zafar. It's supporting East India Company, right? And now East India Company, when it will extract money by this victory, this money will go where? This money will go to Britain. This is what? Drain of economic wealth from India. And if I ask you a question that this victory is important from military point of view or not, so what will be your answer? Is this victory important for military point of view? No, this victory is not important from military point of view, because this victory was ensured mainly through conspiracy. The actual battle was not fought because Mir Zafar did not join the battlefield with its army. So this victory is not important from military point of view. This victory was ensured by conspiracy. So that is one of the most important point. You can write that here the victory was not important. Here the victory was not important from military point of view. Here the victory was not important from military point of view. Okay, because Battle of Plassey was won mainly through conspiracies. Because Battle of Plassey was won mainly through conspiracies. So that is not important. Okay, it was won mainly through conspiracies. Okay, now this battle holds a very important place in Indian history. 23rd June 1757, this battle holds a very important place in Indian history. This battle holds a very important place in Indian history. Why? Because from here what we see, the consequences of this battle are very much important. Why I am saying the consequences of this battle is very much important? Because from here EIC emerges as a political power in India. Before this, EIC was a trading company only, but here EIC is a ruling company also, but here EIC will rule indirectly, right? So from when it will start ruling directly, I will also discuss that. So you can also say that this victory is very much important because of its consequences and results. Consequences and results. This victory is very much important because of its consequences and result. And why we are saying this? Because read this, okay, some historians mark it as the beginning of British rule in India, or beginning of EIC's rule in India. Read this. Some historians have marked it as the beginning of British rule in India. That is very important. That historians are marking it as the beginning of British rule in India. Okay. Some historians also writes that from 23rd June 1757, modern ages started in India. Modern age. From 23rd June 1757, modern age started in India. Some historians also write this. But it was modern age or not, we will discuss later. That is it proper to call it a modern age? We will discuss this later. कि modern age कहना इसको सही है कि नहीं, right? Now, the loyalty will vanish from the Bengal capital or not? Yes, the loyalty vanished, because this is what Mir Zafar, when he will deceit Sirajuddaulah, so this is, you can say that loyalty vanished from the court. अगर धोखा दे के मैं नवाब बनूंगा तो मुझे इस बात का हमेशा डर लगा रहेगा कि मेरे जो सबऑर्डिनेट्स हैं वो भी तो मुझे धोखा देके नवाब बन सकते हैं, ठीक है? तो वो जो डाउट और सस्पिशन, ओके, ये वाला जो माहौल है ये ज्यादा बढ़ जाएगा. लॉयल्टी विल वैनिश, है ना, एंड डाउट्स एंड सस्पिशंस विल ग्रो इनसाइड द नवाब्स कोर्ट. राइट दिस पॉइंट. लॉयल्टी will vanish, loyalty will vanish, and doubts and suspicion, doubts and suspicion, doubts and suspicion, okay, will, doubts and suspicion will be prominent in Nawab's court. Doubts and suspicion were prominent in Nawab's court. And now EIC, the role of EIC was in the role of kingmakers. EIC was in the role of kingmakers. EIC was in the role of kingmakers. And write one more point, that the process of economic exploitation of India started from here. The process of economic exploitation of India started from here. Okay, the process of economic exploitation of India started from here. Now I'm going to discuss another concept, that is, we will relate two things. Okay, one battle is the Battle of Plassey. Battle of Plassey, that is 23rd June 1757, and the second battle is Battle of Buxar. Right, these two battles are very much important, and the date here is 22nd October 1764. So these are two battles. So what happened between this period, we need to understand what happened between this period. Okay, the basic concept we need to understand. I am only discussing those facts which are very important for you. Okay, now देखो, those who are writing UPSC exam, they can get all the facts here, but if you are writing state PCS exam, so simply you will do what? You will practice MCQs, and if you understand the theme, you can easily remember the facts. अगर स्टेट पीसीएस में थोड़े डीप फैक्ट्स वो पूछते भी हैं तो आप आसानी से याद कर सकते हो वंस यू अंडरस्टैंड द एंटायर क्रोनोलॉजी एंड द डेवलपमेंट. ठीक है ना? ओके, नाउ आई एम, द क्लास इज स्लोअर, आई एम नॉट टीचिंग वेरी फास्ट like usually I do in the other classes. Okay, so that there is no need to read any book. क्लास में जितना पढ़ रहे हो उतना ही पढ़ो, and this will cater to all your needs. ठीक है ना? It's better to take 4 or 5 more classes, okay, so that you don't need to read the books. Now what happened during this period? Now who is the new Nawab? New Nawab is Mir Zafar. Mir Zafar is the new Nawab. Now we know this. Mir Zafar is the new Nawab. Okay, He was a puppet Nawab. Become Nawab in which year? 1757. He was a puppet Nawab. ठीक है, puppet Nawab becomes Nawab in 1757. Already he has given many economic benefits for the East India Company. Now just imagine that if East India Company will do unrestricted trade and commerce in Bengal, will they allow the presence of other European merchants in Bengal? No. Okay. They will try to monopolize the market of Bengal. In that case, when only, for example, suppose we are peasants and we are in sitting in the Bengal market to sell raw silk. मान लो हमने raw silk बेचना है, and the buyers are Portuguese, Dutch, English, French. So the bargaining power will be in the hands of the sellers. We are selling raw silk, but when the buyer will be only one, that is English East India Company. So what will happen? The bargaining power will be in the hands of the seller or buyer. And second, the buyer East India Company is kingmaker. They have appointed a puppet Nawab. So is it a possibility that they can also forcefully purchase our raw materials at a price which they will dictate? Yes. And this will ultimately create a revenue loss for Bengal. होगा, Bengal को revenue loss होगा. What about dastaks? They will do use or misuse? They will misuse it. Okay. And what about gifts? अगर आपसे कोई बार बार गिफ्ट मांगने लगे, किसी का बर्थडे आपने गिफ्ट दे दिया, ठीक है, फिर 10 दिन बाद कहा यार मैं मंथली बर्थडे सेलिब्रेट कर रहा हूँ, ऑन द सेम डे मुझे फिर से गिफ्ट दो, क्या होगा? नहीं दोगे ना. नाउ द EIC ऑफिशियल्स आर डूइंग व्हाट? दे आर आस्किंग फॉर ब्राइब्स, दे आर आस्किंग फॉर गिफ्ट्स फ्रॉम नवाब कि पैसा दे दो यार, कुछ जरूरत है, कुछ गिफ्ट विफ्ट दो. मीर जाफर परेशान. मीर जाफर डर भी रहा था. मीर जाफर वॉज फियरिंग ऑल्सो that his subordinates could support East India Company and they may replace him as the Nawab. Okay, so he was also fearing by this. ठीक है, ठीक है. धोखेबाज आदमी को हमेशा धोखे का डर लगा रहता है. So this was the condition of Mir Zafar. And second, the Bengal revenue, the treasury was becoming empty. Okay, now Mir Zafar realized that okay, I have taken a wrong decision by becoming नवाब ऑफ बंगाल. आई शुड नॉट बी अ नवाब ऑफ बंगाल. काहेगा नवाब, अकाउंट में पैसा ही नहीं है, काहेगा नवाब. ठीक है. मीर जाफर बहुत टेंशन में है. नाउ मीर जाफर विल डू व्हाट? मीर जाफर विल अप्रोच डच ट्रेडर्स से मिलेगा. एंड डच आर ऑल्सो वेरी मच डिससेटिस्फाइड विथ EIC मर्चेंट्स. नाउ मीर जाफर विल अप्रोच डच and will say that if you will help me, I can keep the EIC merchants out from Bengal region. डच से कहा कि तुम लोग मेरी हेल्प करो और अंग्रेजों को भगा देते हैं यहाँ से. डच विल से दैट यस वी विल हेल्प यू. बट EIC के इन्फॉर्मेंट्स बहुत तगड़े थे. उन्होंने बता दिया कि मीर जाफर इज प्लानिंग अ कॉन्स्पिरेसी विथ डच. EIC ने कहा अच्छा, सबसे पहले डच को ही एलिमिनेट करते हैं. देन EIC fought a battle. What is the name of the battle that it fought with Dutch? 1759 is the year. Can you recall the name of the battle? Battle of Bedara. याद आया कुछ? Battle of Bedara was fought in which year? 1759. डच को हरा दिया, उससे आप दोस्ती कर सकते थे. Okay. And what about Battle of Wandiwas? 1760. It was a decisive war or indecisive war? It was a decisive war. So they defeated Dutch in the Battle of Bedara 1759. They defeated French okay in the Battle of Wandiwas 1760. और फिर मीर जाफर को कहा और दोस्त बनाओ, किससे दोस्ती कर लोगे तुम? ओके, नाउ मीर जाफर्स प्लान वाज एक्सपोज्ड. ठीक है. नाउ व्हाट विल हैपन? ओके, नाउ EIC विल डिसाइड कि दिस नवाब इज नॉट गुड. ये पपेट तो है नहीं, ठीक है, और हमें क्या चाहिए? पपेट नवाब चाहिए. नाउ द सन इन लॉ ऑफ मीर जाफर, द नेम ऑफ दैट पर्सन वाज मीर कासिम. तो मीर कासिम वाज एस्पायरिंग टू बिकम नवाब. मीर कासिम नवाब बनना चाहता था. उसको फोन लगाया, कहा भाई मीर कासिम नवाब बनना चाहते हो? ससुर जी को हटा दे तुम्हारे? ही सेड दैट हाँ भाई मैं नवाब बनना चाहता हूँ. देन व्हाट हैपेंड? मीर कासिम विल रिप्लेस मीर जाफर. ईयर इज व्हाट? 1760. And do you understand the entire circumstances in which Mir Zafar was replaced with Mir Qasim? Now This is an important fact that 1757 Mir Zafar is Nawab, and 1760, right here, 1760 Mir Zafar was replaced with Mir Qasim. Mir Zafar was replaced with Mir Qasim. Mir Zafar was replaced with Mir Qasim. And here a context I have already discussed with you, that Mir Zafar was gradually dissatisfied. He was dissatisfied. He was dissatisfied by the excessive interference. He was dissatisfied by the excessive interference of EIC. The treasury was revenue loss. You can write revenue loss. He was also dissatisfied by this revenue loss, and he also tried to get the support of Dutch. But finally, the British will fight a battle, that is Battle of Pedara, in the year 1759, and Dutch, okay, claimants will be, okay, the Dutch challenge was abolished. Okay, अब डच की हिम्मत नहीं है दोबारा नवाब ऑफ बंगाल को सपोर्ट करने की. नाउ दिस प्लान ऑफ मीर जाफर इज एक्सपोज्ड. नाउ द प्लान ऑफ मीर जाफर is exposed. So he was replaced with his son-in-law, and the name of son-in-law was Mir Qasim. He was replaced with his son-in-law, and the name of son-in-law is Mir Qasim. Mir Qasim. Got it? Now, what will happen? When Mir Qasim will become the new Nawab, again he is a puppet Nawab or not? He is a puppet Nawab. So he is the kingmaker. Again he is a puppet Nawab. So the kingmakers are, he is a puppet Nawab. So the kingmakers are East India Company. East India Company is kingmaker. Okay. Now, Clive has two phases where he was the governor. One was 1757 to 1760, another 1765 to 1767. ऐसे दो phases है उसके Clive के. So this you must know that Clive was the governor first during 1757, 1760, and then 1765 to 1767. This you can write in a chart. This is two phases. This is phase 1 and this is phase 2. Phase 1 and phase 2. Okay. Phase 1 and phase 2. Very simple. Right. Now, Mir Qasim is the number. Yes, please ask. Exactly. Okay. I will discuss dual system of government in Bengal. So that was led down by Clive, the year 1765. ठीक है ना? तो वहाँ confusion no, इसलिए मैंने आपको बता दिया. Now, when Mir Qasim will become the Nawab, okay, he will again give what? Economic gains to EIC. Economic gains to EIC. He will again provide economic gains to EIC. Okay. He will provide some money. Okay. He will provide some cash money. It is said, some historians write that EIC got silver coins from Nawabs, which they used to carry in boats. इतने ज़्यादा silver coins मिले उनको. 50 boats, 100 boats laden with the silver coins they were taking from Bengal state. Okay, so obviously this will have an adverse impact on the economy. Now Mir Qasim was the Nawab. After some time, Mir Qasim also realized that I have also committed a mistake by becoming Nawab, because they are again and again frequently asking for what? Money, gift. Okay, and the revenue loss. The state is continuously facing what? Revenue loss. Plus, they are also creating troubles for the local merchants. And when the local merchants will come to you that Nawab bachao mujhe अंग्रेजों से, अंग्रेजों के अत्याचार से, then the Nawab could do nothing. तो किस बात के नवाब हुए आप? Right? So Mir Qasim realized that East India Company is creating a lot of challenges. Now, in 1763, year was 1763, there was some minor conflicts between Mir Qasim and East India Company. कुछ minor conflicts भी हुए, because Mir Qasim was now opposing the injustices done by East India Company in India. ठीक है? He was opposing. Now he has also started opposing the injustices done by East India Company in India. Now, Mir Qasim was knowing this, that, okay, British East India Company is doing excessive interference in the administration of Bengal. Now he will think that what could be the possible solution to prevent this situation? What could be the possible solution? So he thought that if transfer of capital is done, for example, okay, the Bengal capital was Murshidabad. So he thought that if I will transfer this capital from Murshidabad to Munger region, Munger is in Bihar, this was in Bengal, and this was in Bihar. So he also transferred the capital from Murshidabad to Munger. Why? Because Munger will be a distant place away from the settlements of East India Company. So he thought that EIC will do least interference here. Least interference. Okay. So he tried this formula also, that EIC will do least interference, but this formula was also not successful. ठीक है, पीछा नहीं छूटने वाला, अंग्रेज बिल्कुल प्रेत की तरह है, कहीं चले जाओ पीछा नहीं छोड़ेंगे. Now this formula was also not successful. Now he thought that the second outlook is what? Now Mir Qasim thought that if I will get help and support of other regional powers or Mughal emperor, right, we can just keep the British out from Bengal, out from India. Now he is thinking of making an anti-British alliance. This is the idea. Now Mir Qasim thought that we should make an anti-British alliance. This is the next idea, anti-British alliance. Now who will join this alliance? Here, that is the next important thing. So one is, okay, Mir Qasim himself. He was the Nawab of Bengal. He will be a part of this alliance. The second party in this alliance will be Suzaud-Dawla. This is the name. The name is very important. Suzaud-Dawla. He was the ruler of Awadh. Ruler of Awadh. And Awadh was one of the most important province at that time. He was the ruler of Awadh, Suzaud-Dawla, right? And the third person who is going to join this alliance will be Mughal emperor himself. And the name of this Mughal emperor was Shah Alam II. So this is what? Mughal emperor himself. Shah Alam II will join, okay, this anti-British alliance. One is Mir Qasim, the second is Suzaud-Dawla, and the third is Mughal emperor Shah Alam II. अब यहाँ ये सोच के खुश नहीं होना है कि मुगल एम्परर बहुत पावरफुल था. There is an important saying about this Mughal emperor that Sultanat e Shah Alam as Dilli Tapalam. It means Shah Alam political control and territories were extended from Delhi to Palam region. इतने ही दूर में वो सुल्तान बादशाह था. By name he was Badshah of India, but ठीक है, वो he was controlling, he was a weaker ruler. So here there are three powers: Mir Qasim, Suzaud-Dawla, and this was a powerful ruler. Out of these three, who is the most powerful? Suzaud-Dawla. He was the most powerful. मीर कासिम से भी ज्यादा पावरफुल कौन है? सुजाउद्दौला. मुगल एम्परर शाह आलम II से भी ज्यादा पावरफुल कौन है? सुजाउद्दौला. Okay, now they will decide that we will fight a war with British, okay, East India Company, and we will eliminate East India Company from India. We will keep the British out from India. Now the second battle will be fought by these three collective forces. Now the second battle. Now they thought that this solution will work. Now they will fight a war with East India Company, and this war was fought on 22nd October 1764. This is, and this date is also important, 22nd October 1764. This war was fought on this date, 22nd October 1764. That is Battle of Buxar. And here, this war is important from military point of view or not? So the answer is yes. In this war, EIC did not use any conspiracy. EIC ने कहा बहुत आरोप लगा लिए कॉन्स्पिरेसी का, इस बार असली लड़ाई होगी, ठीक है. And Indian rulers will be exposed. They were already familiar with their weaknesses. उनको पहले से पता था, ग्राउंड वर्क करके आए थे. Now This war is important, right? This war is important from military point of view. This war is important from military point of view. This war was not conspiracy or trickery, was not a part of this war. Here what we see that was EIC got victory. EIC was a victorious power here. EIC was a victorious power, and EIC defeated three collective forces. EIC defeated three collective forces in India, and out of these three collective forces, one was the Mughal emperor himself. Okay, one was the Mughal emperor himself. Now, don't you think that this will give a message to the Indian people? That what is the message? After 1707, when Aurangzeb declined, later Mughals, what was happening? Disintegration of Mughal power. A political vacuum was created. Regional states were rising. Okay. And now there was an important question that who will fill this political vacuum? Okay. Now the people were thinking that Marathas will be able to fill this political vacuum. But this victory in Battle of Buxar, where East India Company has defeated Mughal Emperor also, this will expose the weakness of the central authority. मुगल एम्परर को डिफीट करने के मायने बहुत हैं. दिस विल एक्सपोज द वीकनेस ऑफ द सेंट्रल अथॉरिटी. Nawab of Bengal was one of the most important province, defeating Nawab of Bengal. Awadh was a powerful state, defeating ruler of Awadh. This is collective forces were defeated, and now this will give a message to the Indian people that who is going to fill the political vacuum in India. East India Company is going to fill this political vacuum in India. Okay, so write this. This victory established this notion that this victory is very important, because it established this notion that okay, EIC is going to fill the political vacuum. This victory established this notion that EIC is going to fill the political vacuum that has been created. EIC is going to fill the political vacuum that has been created by the declining Mughal authority. That has been created by the declining Mughal authority. Okay, that's the most important thing. And this victory was it more validated in comparison to the Battle of Plassey? Yes. Battle of Plassey was always questioned कि आपने धोखे से जीत लिया है. But this victory will not be questioned because it is important from the military point of view. So that is the most important point. Read this. Previously, victory in Battle of Plassey was always questioned. Previously, victory in Battle of Plassey was always questioned. Victory in Battle of Plassey was always questioned. But the victory in Battle of Buxar was more validated and it will not be questioned. The victory in Battle of Buxar is more validated and it will not be questioned. It will not be questioned. Okay. So if I use a statement, and the statement is Battle of Buxar confirmed the victory of Battle of Plassey. Correct or incorrect? Do you understand this statement? Why I am making this statement? Battle of Buxar confirmed the victory of the Battle of Plassey. This is the sense. You can write this point that Battle of Buxar confirmed. Battle of Buxar confirmed the victory in the Battle of Plassey. Battle of Buxar confirmed the victory in the Battle of Plassey. It confirmed the victory in the Battle of Plassey. Okay. Now, what will happen after this battle? Again, some important changes will be introduced. And what are the important changes here? Okay. What are the important changes? After 22nd October 1764. What are the important changes we need to understand? There is a question bank, that is Ghatna Chakra, okay, Indian history, and in that book there are questions of UPSC as well as all the state PCS. So you can get that question booklet. That is all the questions are solved there, and you will first practice UPSC questions. It has been written at the end of every question about which year, like this. So you will practice first which question? UPSC question. तो आपकी तैयारी की जो रणनीति है, द स्ट्रैटेजी ऑफ योर मेकिंग प्रिपरेशन शुड बी गाइडेड बाय यूपीएससी क्वेश्चंस, उसको देख के चलना है, राइट? And then once you do practice of all the UPSC question multiple times, then you will also try to read state PCS questions, mainly UP PCS questions, right? ठीक है, UP PCS में एक होता है अपर सबऑर्डिनेट एग्जाम, तो उसके बारे में भी आप अपर सबऑर्डिनेट वाले क्वेश्चंस को प्रैक्टिस करोगे, ठीक है ना? एंड इन द सेम बुक यू विल गेट क्वेश्चंस इन एंशिएंट इंडिया, medieval India, modern India, ठीक है? So practicing PYQs is very much important. Okay, apart from understanding the concepts, to do practice you can get it on Amazon पे भी available है, so you can get it, ठीक है ना? Right? So you must have question bank, क्योंकि पहले क्या आएगा, मेंस आएगा या प्रीलिम्स आएगा? प्रीलिम्स आएगा ना, ठीक है? तो you must be well prepared for the prelims exam, ठीक है? ऐसा नहीं सोचना है कि पहले मेंस के महारथी बन जाओगे फिर प्रीलिम्स की तैयारी करोगे, पता चले मेंस के महारथी बनने के बाद प्रीलिम्स निकालने में 2-3 साल लग गया फिर, है ना? तो all these things should be simultaneous, ठीक है? Now by the classes you can easily write answer और सारे questions हो जाएंगे, ठीक है? ऐसा नहीं है, but still you should try to practice more and more questions. Now what are the important changes? Now again what we see here, there is an interesting change that Mir Qasim was replaced by Mir Zafar again, ठीक है? दोबारा से ये मीर जाफर को लेके आए, ये बड़ी मजेदार बात है। मीर जाफर को कन्विंस किया, ठीक है? मीर जाफर ऑल्सो थॉट दैट गुमनामी की जिंदगी जीने से अच्छा है नवाब दोबारा बन जाया जाए, तो दे कन्विंस्ड मीर जाफर एंड मीर जाफर ज्वाइंड अगेन। अच्छा, मीर जाफर के दोबारा आने का मतलब क्या है? दे कन्विंस्ड मीर जाफर। जो डिससेटिस्फाइड थे इस बात से कि मीर जाफर को नवाब की पोजीशन से हटा के मीर कासिम को जबरदस्ती लाया गया है, तो उससे क्या होगा, डिससेटिस्फेक्शन लेवल भी क्या हो जाएगा, कम हो जाएगा। दिस इज वन रीजन। मीर जाफर वाज समहाउ कन्विंस्ड एंड नाउ मीर जाफर वाज रेडी टू assume nawabship, but the problem is that he died shortly, he died shortly, and okay, then British will do what? British will appoint his minor son as नवाब। मीर जाफर का एक बेटा था मीरन, ठीक है? तो ही वॉज ऑलरेडी किल्ड इन द बैटलफील्ड, पहले ही मारा जा चुका था। सो नाउ दे विल अपॉइंट हिज माइनर सन एंड द नेम ऑफ दिस माइनर सन इज नजीमुद्दौला, एंड दिस नेम इज वेरी मच इंपॉर्टेंट। नजीमुद्दौला, रेड दिस, नजीमुद्दौला, नजीमुद्दौला, yes, yes, who? इसको मिर्जा, ईस्ट इंडिया कंपनी, again East India Company is doing this, so they are again, exactly, they are doing this. That's why I am using the word kingmakers for East India Company, and they are doing this very smartly. They are not directly controlling the power because the sentiments of the local population will go against them, so they are doing this very smartly. Here they have appointed Mir Zafar, but Mir Zafar died soon, and then he was replaced by his minor son, and that is Nazimuddaulah. Why this name is important? Nazimuddaulah, वहाँ पे एक fact लिख लो।